Welcome to part 2 of my series on what is the perfect rifle cartridge. So last time I broke it down into 3 categories: hunting, efficiency, and long range. And like I said last time, if you're only looking for a hunting cartridge, hunting caliber, then you can look at a 270 or a 7 mag, or a 300 Winchester Magnum, and you've got the flat shooting, high velocity, high powerful energy round that you want. If you're only a coyote hunter, then a 22-250 might be the ticket, whatever the case. You're not concerned about cartridge length, action length, barrel length, weight of the gun, recoil. You just want the performance. You want the animal to drop in its tracks. People who are more concerned with efficiency, don't have to have optimal performance. They want good performance, but they're willing to sacrifice a little performance for overall efficiency. So maybe shooting less powder, maybe it's cheaper, less recoil, lighter weight rifle, shorter rifle, whatever the case. And then if you're only for long range, you're really not concerned if the rifle is 30 pounds and 34 inches. It doesn't matter. You're looking for a caliber that is going to be accurate and consistently accurate, which takes a high efficiency, high ballistically coefficient bullet. And so that could be completely different from anything else. So having recapped that, I want to talk about my personal scale, because as you know, everyone is going to have a different answer to this question: what is the perfect rifle cartridge? There's going to be thousands of answers, honestly, from what people think, and there probably could be hundreds of answers that are correct. It just depends on what you want. But I'm not going to stop there. I am going to give you a winner. But let me tell you the perspective that I'm coming from. So here's my scale. 25% of what I'm looking for is for hunting, 50% is efficiency, and 25% is long range. So I'm of the camp that I'm looking for a caliber, a cartridge, to do all three. I'm not just looking for potential knockdown power or flat shooting hunting caliber. I'm not just looking for a very efficient cartridge. I'm not just looking for a 1,000-yard caliber that I can shoot downrange. I don't want just one of those three things. So I'm not in one of those three camps. I'm in all three camps. Now, I've never shot at 1,000 yards, so let's just throw that out there. I have shot at longer ranges, but not quite 1,000 yards. I would like to one of these days. I have no intentions of having those monstrosities where you see this, 30-pound rifle that's got a 34-inch barrel on it, with a $4,000 scope on it. And the bipod itself is gigantic and weighs 20 pounds. I mean, I'm just not into that. I've got no problems with it whatsoever. I think it's cool. Maybe if I had the money, I would try to get into it. I think it's really cool. I have no intention of ever having a rifle like that or a cartridge designed specifically and only for that. So that's just not my thing. I think it's really cool. I think long range science is cool. I think all the science and engineering that goes into thinking about how to, have success at shooting at those long ranges is really cool. But I'm never going to do that. Okay, but having said that, I like the thought of my perfect cartridge being able to shoot at least semi-accurately and consistently at 1,000 yards. So that is something that I think about. So if the gun I'm going to pick, is just not going to handle that 1,000-yard hit, then it can't be, in my opinion, the perfect rifle cartridge. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be able to win competitions. It doesn't mean it has to break world records. But it means that if I decide today I'm not going to go hunting, but I'm going to go set up at 1,000 yards, and I'm going to attempt to make these shots, and I need to have at least a modicum of confidence that the rifle and the cartridge can get it done. So 25% of my scale, this ratio that I'm using, is going to long range. So it has to be able to shoot at long range. And honestly, a lot more calibers than you probably would think about can do that. Okay, not world record breaking, but can do that. Efficiency is the big one, though. I just think it's really cool to have a cartridge accomplish, 80 or 90% of another similar cartridge's performance, yet do it with 40% less powder, or 30% shorter case, whatever the thing. It's just neat to me that a 308, for instance, I always use that as the example, can perform so good in a 22-inch barrel, but a 7mm Magnum, it's just not going to perform in a 22-inch barrel. Could you use it? Could you have success? Of course. But if you want to get the potential out of your 7mm Magnum, you really need a 26-inch barrel, at least a 24-inch barrel. And it's going to be a long action. So I think it's just really cool that you can get efficiency out of certain cartridges, and they don't need the long barrel. They don't need all those other things, and they recoil less. I just think that's really cool. But that's only half. So don't think that I'm going to go with just an efficient round. Although in my thinking, that is 50% of my scale. So it definitely means a lot to me that you can get the most bang out of your buck. But that's not the only thing. I do hunt. I'm not a huge hunter anymore, but I do like to hunt. I wrote down here some of the things that I hunt. Mainly is coyote and whitetail deer. Potentially, I would like to get into hog hunting, mule deer hunting, and elk hunting. But definitely coyote and whitetail deer. So 25% of my scale is hunting. So, I'm not looking to get a cartridge that's solely long range, or so efficient that you're not honestly, well, that's an incorrect way of saying it, but where they've put so much emphasis on lighter recoil and less powder that it's really not even a good hunting round anymore. I don't want to go quite that far. So this perfect caliber still needs to be very good at taking down animals, also good at long range shooting if I choose to, but it also needs to be very efficient. So my scale, what I'm looking at is I want a little bit of everything. Okay, so a 338 Lapua, I'm just going to tell you, is not going to be it. Okay, it's just not going to win this little contest that I'm not a contest, but this little competition that I've got going on, because it's just not efficient. I don't want to carry around a gun that's going to kick that hard. I don't want to carry around a gun or rifle that has got to be heavy enough with a big muzzle brake on it just to slow down some of that recoil. I'm not looking for that. So, and I honestly, with a coyote, it would probably blow it in 3 pieces. With a whitetail deer, it's just too much. So it's just not the cartridge for me. Now let's just go ahead and throw out anything else that's bigger than that. So, all the Shytex and the African calibers. You got your 375 H&H and your 375 Ruger and your 416 Rigby and your 416 Remingtons and your 50 BMGs. Even, let's just back up to the 338 Winchester Magnum, okay? From what everybody tells me, it's an excellent hunting caliber for moose. I don't doubt that at all. But basically anything at the 338 level or bigger on a center fire rifle caliber cartridge is not going to make my cut because it's not efficient. It's just too much. In certain circumstances, it'll be great for long range shooting. In certain circumstances, it would be very good for hunting, whatever the case, but I'm not going to be hunting African game, nor does most people in the world. Let's just be honest. So that's just not going to make the cut. So we can rule out all those monster cartridges, okay? Now, let's go back to hunting for a second. I want you to think about the things I hunt. Now, I might hunt rabbit, I might hunt squirrel, but I'm going to use a rimfire rifle on those things. I might hunt turkey as well. I'm going to use a shotgun. So it's not that I have to have a rifle that's going to kill a squirrel and an elk, because I have a rimfire that can do that. A 22 long rifle, probably, maybe even a 22 Magnum. But I don't need that extreme of a spread on the hunting. So it does, however, need to be something that I could kill a coyote or an elk and not feel either one was too extreme. Let me give you an example. A 270 definitely would kill a white-tailed deer. It might be perfect for that. It definitely can kill an elk as well. And it's really not an overkill on a coyote. Is it almost? Maybe. But is it a complete overkill? No. So, that particular hunting cartridge would work for all those game that I'm talking about killing. However, the 270, is not going to meet my efficiency needs or my long range needs. Now, I don't want you to think I'm saying it's an inefficient cartridge. It's not meant to be an efficient cartridge, so I'm not downing it. The 270 is awesome at what it's meant to do. Okay, it's meant to hunt with, and it's a great hunting caliber. It was never meant to be efficient. It was meant to put the needed powder in that case and shoot it flat, shoot it hard, knock your game down, take your game home. So the 270 does exactly what it was designed to do, but it's not as efficient as I would like it to be. That alone wouldn't put the nail in the coffin, though. If it was just that, if the only downside to the 270 was that it could be a little bit more efficient, that alone wouldn't be enough to kill it. But also the 270 is just not going to be a gun, if I want to shoot at 1,000 yards, that it really is going to do a great job for that. Mainly because the bullets are not very ballistic coefficient. Once again, because they weren't designed to be. The twist rate in a 270 barrel is, generally speaking, 1 in 10. And they were really geared around a 130 grain bullet, possibly up to 150 grain. With that ballistic coefficient, with that bullet going that fast, it's not designed to shoot at long ranges. Of course, it's going to go that far, but it's not going to be accurate. Now, I'm sure somebody out there can prove me wrong and said that they've shot at 1,000 yards, and that might be the case. But generally speaking, it's not going to happen. Now, if you had a custom gun with maybe a 1 in 9 twist barrel, 1 in 8 twist barrel, and you worked up the right load for it and had the right gun, it could be a good long-range gun. We just have never tried it, perhaps. And that's something else I need to add. One more caveat to this is that we're not really talking about custom guns. So you could have some kind of awesome Wildcat custom round that it's the perfect round and it just hasn't been, brought to the retail world yet. But we can't go with that. We can't go with a 1 in 7 22-250 or a 1 in 8 270 that you might think is the greatest centerfire rifle cartridge. We have to go with something that you can actually go and buy. So if you go and buy a 270, it's going to be a 1 in 10 case. I'm sorry, a 1 in 10 twist rate. So the 270 might be one of the best hunting cartridges ever. But in the overall perfect cartridge, it just doesn't quite meet the standards of efficiency and long range. So it's out. I'm not going to go too much further today. I just wanted to give you an update on what my scale is and the way I'm looking at this and the things that factor into how I'm going to make my decisions. Also the things that I hunt. So next time we will go, I'm just going to start naming some cartridges that would meet these criteria and these applications of these three categories. But let me just recap real quick. So all large calibers from .338 up are basically out. I'm never going to hunt Africa. And all those cartridges just kick so hard, use so much powder. And it's just not practical, it's not efficient, and it's overkill for the hunting that I'm going to be doing. So those are out. And we're just going to stop there for today, but we'll continue this. And like I said, there will be a winner. And once again, sorry for the shaky cam. I do apologize. Take care. Please subscribe, like this video, and I will continue this on the next video. See ya.